Hello again, people. Welcome back to HemingwayLand.com, your source for quality, affordable land in the Aloha State. Got a new property this week that is a combination of adjacent acreage. It's in a subdivision where the lot sizes are, I think, small by normal standards, average size by Hawaii standards. Whatever the case, we're going to be offering you more acreage to build on, to live on, more acreage than the neighbors have. We had a property similar to this a couple weeks ago. It sold in about 2 weeks. I was surprised. Usually at this price point, they tend to sit around a scooch longer. But those who are familiar with the area and those who are familiar with how difficult it is to find adjacent acreage know when they see a good deal. So we had somebody swoop in and scoop it up. And yeah, with all that said, let's get to the details. This is HI 3942, located in Hawaii County, aka the Big Island. This property is in the Nanawale Estates subdivision. It is 0.36 acres. People, don't get confused. It's not 36 acres. It is 0.36, so somewhere between 1/3 of an acre and 2/5 of an acre. And it is a combination of two adjacent 0.18 acre lots, priced, as you saw up top here, at $9,500. Let's pull this up on a map, show you guys exactly where this is. As with all of our listings, scroll back down here, click these hyperlink GPS coordinates, and up on Google Maps, it shall appear. Let's zoom back, show you guys where this is on planet Earth, then we'll get into specifics. So, as noted, the property is located here on the Big Island, aka Hawaii County. It's over here on the eastern coast in the Puna district. And if you zoom in here, you can see the aforementioned Nanawale Estates carved out very nicely here on Google Maps. To give you a sense of exactly how sort of, I'd like to say big, but I'm going to say small the subdivision is. It's a kind of small subdivision, really only about 2,000 lots in here, something like that. Whatever the case, living here is going to put you in very close proximity to Pahoa Village Road, easy access into nearby Pahoa town. It's like a 5-minute drive. Over here in this small town, you're going to have access to things, basic amenities, post office, drugstore, some shopping, groceries, things like that. Hardware store as well. If you're going to be building out here, there's an Ace Hardware very close by, etc. Anything else that you're going to want, if you need more, most likely just drive up the road, the 130 here into Kiau. Slightly bigger town, more schools, more churches, more medical, more dining, shopping, nightlife, etc. And if Kiau doesn't do it for you, then just keep driving up the 11 into nearby Hilo town. Kiau is about 10 minutes from the subject property. Hilo, I think, is about 20 minutes. Whatever the case, Hilo, of course, is the most densely populated city in the island, on the island. Here you're going to have things like the Walmart, as well as the international airport, the golf course, and, of course, the university, and many other things. The beaches here along the North Shore, so on and so forth. It should also be noted that living down here in Nanawale Estates puts you in very close proximity to the Kalapana area, where you have the lava viewing region over here, as well as the night market, the very famous night market that takes place out here, farmers market, etc. Additionally, you've got the 137 here, which offers some scenic drives up the coast to places like, hang on, let me zoom back a little bit, to places like the Kehana Black Sand Beach over here, as well as the Pohoiki Black Sand Beach over here. So, of course, being in Hawaii, you've got very easy access to beaches all the time, but two of them pretty close by to the Nanawale Estates region here. Go surfing, go scuba diving, go swimming, go lay down on a towel and read, whatever. But point is, two very relaxing, very enviable areas close by to the property. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so let's get back to Nanawale. So this is the Nanawale community right here. It should be noted this is a nice subdivision because you've got, number one, paved roads. Really all the north-south streets are paved, and most all of the east-west streets are either paved or very well maintained. Additionally, you've got power really all throughout the subdivision. More to the point, however, you have the Nanawale Community Association, which is sort of a property owners association. For those of you who don't like dealing with that, you can stop watching the video now. But for those of you who understand the value of a property owners association, which is to say that the land you buy now will only increase in value over time because you've got an organization that's we'll use the word policing the area a little bit to make sure that nobody comes in and creates some sort of eyesore in the community and brings down property values. Additionally, they sort of enforce an aesthetic uniformity amongst what's built out there. So you've got a lot of nice homes in this region, etc. Additionally, of course, they've got the Nanawale Community Association office over here. We'll show you some pictures of this in a bit. The swimming pool, the park for the kids, so on and so forth. But it's a really nice little community. And over here at the subject property, just what I mentioned, paved roads going up this way, well-maintained road going this way, and, of course, power all throughout this road right here. For the record, this is Kauai Road, and this road is Kehau. And yes, I had to call somebody in Hawaii and say, teach me how to pronounce these. A lot of vowels, people, a lot of vowels. Anyway, as you can see, running here along Kauai Road are 1, 2, 3, 4 properties nearby, people living in those houses as well. This over here is actually a church, and I'll show you some pictures of those in a second. I just want to show you here on Google Maps, if you go to map view, you will see the plat overlay of the area. This is one of the subject properties, and this is the other subject property right here. So 0.18 acres, 0.18 acres, total of 0.36. It should be noted here that if you look at the plat, if you really kind of study this and zoom all throughout the area, what you're going to see is that the entirety of this subdivision are mostly 0.18 acre lots. You don't really find adjacent acreage like this that gives you, you know, twice as much room to move as any of your neighbors are going to have. Occasionally you'll see things like this, but my suspicion is because this is a church that's on this lot, that's the reason why. But yeah, if you take time to review the plat, you'll see most all the lots look like that. For the record, speaking of reviewing the plat, if you come down here in the gallery, you can see not only a sort of Google Earth representation of the size, shape, location of the property, but you can also see the plat map, the handy plat map that we have here of the two lots. Blah, blah, blah. All right, now let's get to the photos. I just want to tell you guys, unlike most of the properties, typically we'll get about 40 photos taken of a property. Because these lots are so densely tree covered, it doesn't make a lot of sense to get 40 photos of trees. So the photo gallery that we have here is, first of all, it's community photos, then it's property specific photos, and then it's more photos from the nearby community like Pahoa. So if you go through these, what you're going to see first off is sort of the entrance to Nanawale Estates. You can see this is a bucolic little subdivision where they have the community pool here, and they have the picnic tables and the soccer fields and playground, etc., for all of the Nanawale community, the kids to go hang out. And then, of course, you've got more of this region, and then, the subject property. So, as noted, this is Kauai Road, and here's the Kalapana, I'm not even going to try it, First Hawaiian Congregational Church that sits nearby. In the next photo, you'll see an example of a rainwater catchment system. I will get back to that in just a bit. And then we get into more of the property-specific photos. So as you can see, the road that the property sits on here is not necessarily paved. It's a dirt gravel type thing, but very easy to traverse. And additionally, you've got power lines running up and down the street like this. You can see some parts of the road are a little overgrown with some, I don't know, I'm going to call it grass. But the lots out here, it rains a lot. There's a dense foliage to begin with. And yeah, that's what the property looks like. So if we look at the photos here, you're going to see, the before and after. This is what the lot looks like beforehand, and this is what it looks like after you come in and doze and do some landscaping and whatnot, and you start to build on it. So this is one of your neighbors' homes, and yeah, this is more of the region itself. Blah, blah, blah. Additionally, of course, after these photos, as noted earlier, we have photos from the local community. As you can see here, if you look at these, it's a very pretty little region, a very pretty town, Pahoa. And of course, we've got some photos here of the high school and the churches, et cetera, et cetera. This really is what you imagine Hawaii to look like, just very beautiful, picturesque. This looks like paradise. This looks like a place where you can't help but relax. I dare you to be stressed out in Hawaii type of place. And of course, we've got photos from the local storefronts and the businesses that are in the region, so on and so forth. I will let you explore these on your own time, the rest of them. That being said, let's talk about some other aspects of the property. So, as noted, Nanawale Estates has a sort of property owners association. This is a link to their website right here. I just want to show you. First off, the HOA, the POA, whatever you want to call it, Homeowners Property Owners Association, charge a yearly fee of $99 a lot. So if you're buying these two lots, you're going to have $198 in additional fees, along with the taxes that you pay on this property, annual taxes for the property, roughly $400. To be clear, in Hawaii, they collect these things twice a year. So February, they'll collect half, and then in August, they collect the other half. So this isn't a $400 bill that's due all at once. This isn't a $198 bill that's due all at once. You could break it up, separate over, 2 times throughout the year. Whatever the case, if you come down here and click on the Nanawale Estates Community Association, it will bring up their website where you can read and learn more about this particular subdivision and this homeowners association. And if you have any specific questions, any hyper-specific questions, you can reach out to them. Now, I should note that we have taken the time to do a little bit of research for you here on the listing page under our property-specific notes section. Here is where we also have, for instance, if you click this link right here or the link in the table down here, this PDF, it will bring up the Nanawale Estates covenants, conditions, covenants and restrictions that go with the property. This is 6 pages. It's a very easy read. If you read through it, what you're going to find is that most of these are obvious. It's like, don't make a lot of noise. Don't, how you dispose of trash is discussed in here, things like that. There are a couple building-specific rules that we want to make you aware of if you're buying this property as a vacation destination, a seasonal destination, a place you're going to move, or just a place you're going to build an Airbnb. Just some things to be aware of. We break them down here. So first off, number one, once you break ground on the property, you're expected to complete construction within 1 year's time. So let's be clear. You buy the property, you could do nothing with it for the next 20, but the day you say, hey, I want to build on this, that's the day where they're going to expect construction to be, quote, diligently prosecuted over the course of a year. Now, as I have said in other videos, what happens in month 13? What happens on day 366? I don't know. Do they fine you at that point if you're not finished? I don't know. Call the POA if you have that specific question. I think it's really a case-specific type of thing. Next, no structure can be taller than 24 feet or 2 stories. Okay, good to know. And number 3, minimum square footage must be 880 feet. Depending on your definition of a tiny house, this may be applicable. You may be able to build a quote-unquote tiny house here on these properties. Blah, blah, blah. Now, additionally, we also have some other, and by the way, that's really the only major thing that I found in all those covenants and restrictions that might restrict you in some way. The rest of them, as noted, are sort of all obvious good neighbor stuff. That being said, we also have some other links and helpful things here for you. Number 1, so when it comes to actually taking a lot like what we showed you earlier here with something that's this densely tree covered and turning this into a residential lot, the way that this works, number 1, is you get a building permit and you get a dozing permit to come out here and sort of knock down all these trees and everything and begin flattening it out and landscaping the area. As we have up here on the table, we remark that basically the way this is done is by obtaining a permit by the Public Works Department, which is then submitted to the Nanawale Estates Community Office. Only once the office has your permit number can you begin clearing the lot. Then, guys, look at this. We provide you a helpful link right here. As noted, it's a video. It's overlong, a little boring, but very informative. But if you click that, it'll bring it up here on YouTube, and you can watch how the actual dozing process of a lot here in Nanawale Estates works. Of course, the video is now refreshing itself. But you can see exactly what this is like. And of course, if we fast forward through the video a little bit, you'll see how much clearing of the land they do until eventually we get to the end here, and the lot looks more like this. Haha! Anyway, I encourage you to watch that on your own time. It's an hour. Who has an hour to watch a guy doze a field? I don't know, but if you're really interested, maybe you will watch that. Whatever the case, back here on the listing page, we also have a link to the Puna web. This is a sort of helpful online forum that exists out here in the Puna district. So particularly if you're going to be building out here in Nanawale Estates and you want to reach out to some people in that community, people who are going to be your neighbors, and ask them who's a good person to hire to doze a lot, they can speak to you about that, make some recommendations, so on and so forth. I found this to be pretty helpful. When I read through this, I learned a lot about it. So if you're thinking about buying land out here, I'd encourage you to spend, a half hour or so with this website. I think you'll learn some things about the region. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, with all that said, I just want to point out to you guys, also down here under county contact information, we have some helpful links for you to better study up on the area. If you're thinking about buying this property, we've got links here to the local electric company. Click this, it'll bring up their website. You can reach out to them about what it's going to cost to get hooked up to power. As noted, there's power at the lot line, so it should be pretty easy, pretty affordable, etc. Additionally, we also have Waterworks Hawaii. So as I showed you earlier, this picture of a rainwater catchment system, because you're in a tropical climate down here where it rains so much, rainwater catchment systems are a very popular way to obtain and store water and then, bring clean bathing water, clean drinking water into the house, etc. Now, we have up here the Waterworks Hawaii website. If you click on this, it'll take you to their website where you can read and learn more about this. I always recommend, if you're going to get into building something like this, reach out to a vendor like this in advance. Talk to them about the costs associated with this, particularly if you've never done it before. We get a lot of questions about drilling a well in Hawaii. That's really not practical. That really doesn't happen much. But rainwater catchment systems are, in fact, very normal out there. And so if you've never done it before and you do have questions about cost, about how many thousands of gallons per square foot of property do I need to have at any one time, etc., they will be able to answer questions like that for you. So highly recommend checking out their website. It should also be noted that we have some other links down here, county government links that may be helpful, as well as we reiterate the Puna web link. Blah, blah, blah. With all that said, guys, if you're interested in purchasing these properties, and who wouldn't be after this incredible sales pitch that I just made, just come up here and click the Buy Now button. It will take you to secure checkout. Right here, we're going to ask you a couple questions. Now, first off, let me just say this because I get so many questions about it. Property's $9,500. We're asking for $500 down, which means the remaining balance then would be $9,000. More to the point, however, we ask for $500 because I do not anticipate the average person can charge $9,500 on a credit card, and even if they could charge it, your bank would probably flag it because it's so outside of your normal spending habits. So we ask for $500, and then once we have that, we'll reach out to you and figure out how you want to fund the rest of the purchase. In the meantime, we ask that you give us the name or names that you would like on the deed, marital status, which we need in Hawaii, as well as tax address, where's Hawaii County going to mail the tax bill, so on and so forth. Agree to the terms of service, click next, and on the next page we will ask for credit or debit card information where you can make the $500 deposit. When it comes to actually completing this purchase, there's a number of ways that you can do this. The way that we've been doing this, way that all of our buyers really have been requesting, is that we do an attorney closing. We talk about that a little bit down here, but basically what that is you say you want to buy it, you give us the money, we reach out to our attorney, we have them write a new deed, plus conveyance documents. There's a bunch of conveyance documents. They get it done in about 3 or 4 days. They email it back to us. We email it to you, say check this, make sure we spelled your name right, things like that. Got everybody on the deed who you wanted included. Once you tell us it's good, we autograph it, notarize it, and mail it off to our attorneys to record with the Hawaii Bureau of Conveyance. Now, if you're skeptical about giving $9,500 to somebody on the internet and you prefer to run this through a title company, that's easy to do as well. We just ask for the $500 deposit. And then, if you want to learn more about this process, how it works, buying from us, click this page. It's going to bring up here on the website. We discussed the 2 different types of closings that we have. The first is a notary close, basically what I just described. And then the next is title escrow. The way this one works is you put down the deposit. We're going to draft a contract. We sign it, you sign it. We submit it to title, and title does the rest. And they will only request the remainder of your money after a couple weeks after they've vetted the property and after they are ready to close on it. For the record, the advantages here for you as the buyer: number 1, you're going to get title insurance on the property, and number 2, we cannot touch your money until such a time as the property has been recorded into your name. If you are skeptical about buying land online, those are the advantages. For the record, if you'd like to see a copy of one of the contracts that we typically do these transactions with, just come here, click this link, and it will bring up this sale purchase agreement. This is a generic version of what we typically use. This is one page for signatures. But basically, title company's not going to do anything until they have a signed contract, and we're not going to write a contract until we have a deposit. So whether you decide to close with our attorney or whether you decide to close with the title company, either way, we ask for the $500 down. For the record, the closing costs associated with a title escrow close will be the responsibility of the buyer. If you close with our attorney, the closing costs will be the responsibility of us, the seller. I want to point out one more link here, guys, while I have your attention, which is if you're looking at this property and you really want to buy this or any of our other properties in Hawaii, but you can't afford the full amount, you should know that Hawaii Federal Credit Union, we have their website linked here. They have a pretty good lending program, and they actually lend on vacant land. There are not a lot of banks, not a lot of lenders who will lend on vacant land, but Hawaii Federal Credit actually does. So it looks like they have a pretty good interest rate on this, 4.75%. It looks like they have a pretty good lending program here from everything I've read on their website. I've never dealt with them personally, but I mean, I get so many calls about, can you finance this property? If I'm going to finance the property, it really doesn't make sense for me unless I'm charging some ridiculous interest rate like 17%, or unless you're able to put down 50% deposit. And even then, it's hard for me to do. So finding a lender like this who can, offer you an affordable interest rate on the thing, that's pretty good. So I would highly recommend, if you're looking at one of our Hawaii properties and you don't have all the money, reach out to these people and find out, how hard it is to get approved for a loan through them. Blah, blah, blah. With all that said, guys, thanks for watching yet another video about Nanawale Estates. As noted, a much larger property than what you'll typically find out there, and those in the know that it's not only hard to find, but it's a heck of a deal, particularly at just this amount right here, just shy of $10,000. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you in the next video.